quality in.
I kind of don't know if I agree completely with the leadership part. I mean, Ryan Nye's been about, Cameron Butt looks as if he's been about, Craig Sesko knows the league, Brendan Brooks is there on the ice. You know, I think there is experience there on the British side. Barry McKenzie's been about as well. I think there's plenty of leadership. I think maybe, you know, you're just maybe talking about that special guy. You know, when we brought Scott Pitt in, we didn't know who he was going to be either, though. You know, people talk about star signings. Scott Pitt, I believe, came from Dale 2, and people weren't crowing about him when we got him. So, you know, to me, the big marquee star signing, yeah, it's good, and it brings, you know, I think it's always been a purposeful thing, is it brings in a few extra fans, maybe. To me, I'm more concerned with just how the team sort of balances and all the pieces there and they're going to fit. If I remember correctly, Cardiff Devils at the start of last year had very, very few NHL games in their roster either. It didn't do them any harm, so I'm not overly concerned about that aspect of things. But again,
yeah, but they've got. Yeah, but
sorry,
you're right, Ross. But sorry, I need to come back on that. Oh, you're right, but I mean, you know, Cardiff are one of the top spenders in the league, so they had that quality. We're not one of the top spenders, but still, we should be able to bring in at least an element of our roster.
I think all I mean is, though, you don't have to get a guy who's had 100 NHL games and his belt to have a good player in your team.
I know, but you take me too literally. I don't mean necessarily that. I'm just saying that at the moment, the overall level of experience at a high league level just isn't there right now.
There is a lack of AHL guys that we're used to, I suppose. Again, it doesn't always translate. It might translate to something similar to last year, but then again, we just won't know. And you know, that was one of the questions we got. Stu at Stu Elu. This is my first full pre-season as a season ticket holder. I want to know from more experienced fans, should I be nervous or excited? And I think the answer to that is yes. You should be both.
Mostly excited, though.
Yeah, because you just don't know. We never know from season to season, and that's even when you keep 5-6 imports for the previous year. You never really know what you're going to get. This is a wipe the slate, clean, start from scratch, new coach, new players, new everything. So yeah, excited, absolutely. Nervous, yeah, because you don't know. You never know for year to year how the team's going to gel. So I think that's the whole point of what we're saying. None of us really know, and we're all just reading between the lines and guessing, really.
Well, if we don't do that, we get no podcast, so we might as well just keep guessing.
Stephen at Purple Army 11. Again, we're going on to the same question again. Are we going to get any big signings to replace the likes of Keith Pitt? We haven't recruited anyone who's going to be a leader on the ice. Well, I've just said I don't really believe that to be true. I think what he's really meaning is, I don't know if he's really meaning, I suppose, but when Matt Keith came and Scott Pitt came, we all guessed about how we thought they would pan out. You know, Matt Keith turned out to be a cracking player. I think we kind of guessed that was going to be the case with his pedigree. No, I don't remember MD crowing about Scott Pitt and saying what a fantastic player we've just signed, Stephen.
No, you're right. And at the end of his first season here, if you'd asked, I can't remember if we're doing the podcast at that point or not, probably were, but if you'd asked us if we were bothered about him coming back, we probably would have said, no, really. You know, you never know with these guys. Yeah, even some guys like can come over and have a slow start, you know, get great towards the end, and even then, if they come back the next year, you don't know if they're going to be any good. So it's hard to try and guess what's happening, but I'm just waiting. Like, I've been saying this on the forum and a few other places as well. It's all very well sitting looking at elite prospects and saying, oh, this guy doesn't do this or this, but we're never really going to know until we actually see them on the ice. And we need to give them a few games, especially under a new coach who's a rookie coach. Let's be fair. He's had limited experience in Germany, no experience of this league at all. So it's going to be good to see how it all comes together, and I'm actually looking forward to the season now. And going by how last season I didn't want to go to games and crying when I had to leave the house and things like that. It's a big improvement, you know. So I think there's exciting times ahead, but don't quote me on that just in case there isn't, you know. But the amount of times I've been told I'm wrong, like in every walk of life, not just about hockey, you know. Like, so it's just you know, I think we're all in the same boat, you know. We all want the Clan to be the best they can be, but until a puck's dropped, nobody knows how it's going to go. And even then, you can't base it in the first few games, because we could have a crap 3 games and then go and find ourselves and then just keep going and go on a good run and end up in a great position again. So I'm not saying that's going to happen either. So, but you know, you just never know what's going to happen. Hockey's a weird sport. I've learned that from following the Maple Leafs, who were crap for 19 years and then look promising now. So it's always got to be a weird one, the way things can pan out. But just, I wouldn't base how the season's going to go on and where we are sitting at the beginning of August, because a lot's going to happen between now and April.
Yeah. Okay, we'll need to quickly move on. Callum McKicken, I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. How horrible are Cardiff's new CHL jerseys?
Absolutely stinking.
Did you know? I thought they were all right.
I don't know what he's talking about. I didn't even know the CHL jerseys.
I quite liked was it Sheffield? Nottingham ones, sorry. I quite like Nottingham ones as well. I thought the jerseys were all right. He also asked the most annoying question you can ask is, when is Jagger going to sign for Braehead? Unless it's his brother, then I don't think he'll be signing for the area.
Probably his son at this point.
I know. Okay, you know, you get it on the forum all the time. Well, just sign Chara, and you go, oh, God. Anyway, Connor EHL fixture chaos, changes all over the place and backtracking on playoff final weekend dates. I think, you know, we're talking about fixture changes already, and, you know, people are having a go at Fife because they've cancelled a Belfast Challenge Cup game to replace it with a friendly. Do you know, I actually think, you know, that some of the people that are moaning about it are predominantly Sheffield fans. You just think, really? So it's all right if you're a big team to change things, but if you're a wee team, you just sit and do as you're told. I don't know. I mean, Nottingham double up in their Challenge Cup games all the time, so why is it not all right for Fife to do it? I mean, I don't know. Graham, what's your thoughts?
Well, did they not put a stop to that last season, though? Was last season not the first season where we didn't have any doubled-up games?
No, I'm pretty sure Nottingham doubled up as well.
I don't think so. Right, we need to check on that. But I'm under the impression that we stopped that last year, and basically, as usual, the unwritten rule was that that's the way we would move forward. The fact of the matter is, I personally don't have a problem with teams having to move dates around, as long as there has to be a cut-off. So after the announcement, you have to accept again, because a lot of the teams are at the mercy of their venues and what have you. There's always going to be the need for some changes. Fife, different story, because they're not in the same position as an arena team. But again, I don't particularly have a problem with it, other than the fact that it then takes us back to the doubling up of games and the old argument about the fact of, well, you know, the Challenge Cup, just the league is in danger of actually looking to take the Challenge Cup seriously, and then Fife go and do this, and they're able to go and do it. That it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world, but to me, it just doesn't smell right. And to make way for a pre-season game just because they obviously couldn't get their stuff sorted out in time, and it's all happening so late, it's not quite right. Again, it's not a massive big deal, but I just wish we could get away from these doubled up games. I thought we had done that last season, so here we are. We're going backwards again. It's not a major big deal for me. But I think there has to be a cut off where teams just have to say, right, that is it. That's the final fixtures, because people are, you know, they've got accommodation to book, travel to book, and everything else. And you know, you can't mess around the fans.
I was just going to say that. I mean, I don't remember anybody saying that was it, done and dusted as far as doubling up games. That notwithstanding, you know, if that's the road we're going down, the league need to make that clear, plain and simple to everybody involved. If you are a Belfast fan who has booked a hotel and a flight or ferry, yeah, you're going to be brassed off at the last minute. But then again, Belfast were the ones that cancelled, was it Sheffield, because of a concert at the last minute? Do you know, everybody can mump and moan all they like, but we've all done it. They've all done it, Stephen. So, you know, you can't have your cake and eat it. If there's going to be an edict come out for the league, and this is where we need clear leadership, you know, then that's it stamped. From now on, we are not going to do it. Then fair enough. But, you know, yeah, Fife are maybe to blame a wee bit. They've left it to the last minute, as usual, to do these things. And, you know, to me, it doesn't affect me, and I'm not really caring that much. But I can see if you're a Belfast fan why you would be pissed off.
Yeah, I mean, I've not really looked into this at all to see what the full story is, but I'm pretty sure like about a week ago, Fife put out a statement saying that fixture could be changed. So it might have been just about when the fixtures came out. I can't remember when they came out right enough. But, you know, the one thing I will say, I'll take what Graham said and disagree with it by they're in danger of taking Challenge Cup seriously. The Challenge Cups can never be taken seriously again after the snooker ball and an M&S bag. So, you know, but I can see why the Belfast fans might be a bit annoyed about it, but these things always happen. You know, it's a recurring theme in the EIHL where something's got to get cancelled for one reason or another, and we just need to try and work our way around it. So, yeah.
Anyway, Robert McFarlane, despite reassurances from management, it's looking like we won't have a full roster by the start of the league. Is this okay? Well, we kind of covered that already, and well, nobody's saying it's okay, but it's just par for the course, really, isn't it? Graham Orr, not really a question. Wishing new coach and players all the best for the forthcoming season. I think we would all echo that. And a very late comer, of course, we didn't tell everybody when we were recording, but Carol Ann Jardine managed to sneak this one in, and it's pretty relevant, I suppose, because we had a discussion about this both on the forum and in our wee chat group. Sims's wee cameo viewing Braehead, stirring the pot or not, worth a discussion. I think we've kind of covered it to an extent, you know, saying the team's not finished yet, so it's very hard to judge. And, you know, a lot of times, like, you'll make a judgment based on elite prospects and a few YouTube videos. Like last year, we thought we looked as if we had a good team. I was certainly excited for last year, and it just, for one reason or another, never happened. You never really know, even once the team's been put together. As far as Sims's cameo and his opinions, Graham, I know you have an opinion on it. You want to go first?
Well, only because I hate to say it, but at this particular moment in time, I agree with him. I mean, his comment was based on what we have to look at right now is the door left open for at least two of the other Scottish teams to perhaps, you know, go ahead and you know, make the conference theirs. And again, you know, it's everything that we've already talked about. We don't know because we still have 7 imports to come in. But just looking at the roster the way it is right now, I would tend to agree. Now again, there's a whole, I mean, as everyone knows, we keep having to qualify everything that we say because we don't really know. But there's all sorts of qualifications that need to go around this. There's assumptions that all these Ruskies that are coming into Edinburgh are going to be good players because they're Russian. On paper, they look good players. I don't think there's any KHL stars as such, but even the VHL, if they perform well there, then you have to reckon that they're a pretty good standard. But again, it's an assumption. You know, Fife, the assumption is that it's always going to be left really, really late, but ultimately they end up with a good squad, and that's right. So, assuming that happens again, then it's just because, and again, come back to the Simsy bit, he's always had us pegged as far and away the favourites for the conference and far and away the favourites for the league, and we should have it sewn up by the end of February and all that sort of stuff. That's the usual mind games and all the other stuff, and I have no problem with that whatsoever, especially when it creates so much debate. As I say, the unfortunate thing right at this moment in time, looking at a snapshot of all the rosters and where we are and how long we've got to go until the season starts, I would tend to agree that at the moment we just don't have the roster in place to, as it stands at the moment, to necessarily walk away with the league as we have done before, but maybe win the league. You know, that's a concern. But again, the problem is you can grab something that Simsy says because he's, you know, in terms of social media, is obviously by far the most high-profile individual in terms of where he is in the sport and everything else. And people, whether you love him or whether you hate him, people will jump upon his comments and feast upon them, which is exactly what he wants in the first place. And that's fine, because it creates debate, and we're having a chat about it right now, which is fine. But yeah, as I say, I would agree with him right as things stand at the moment, but who knows, if we have a new signing over the next couple of days that is a bit more in line with what we've been hoping for, then all of a sudden the picture starts to change again. So, yeah, time will tell.
Yeah, I think he has a point. And again, it's all qualified. You know, you're perfectly spot on saying we don't know what Fife, Edinburgh, Dundee players are going to be until we see them either.